Today's program is sponsored by Compete Force USA. Compete Force, a family-owned company built from passion for functional fitness. Compete Force, built for you. Visit us at CompeteForceUSA.com. That's CompeteForceUSA.com. I'ma show you who I am.
Let the debate cease and take seats. I hate to be the one say I ain't keep a hunt. Glad you changing me, we majorly they pay to see the way that we come and compete. It's clear to me, you talking off and me, you say the least, you better wake up.
Welcome to Craving More, a CrossFit Crave podcast where we find motivation through obstacles, resistance, and everyday life. On today's episode, Matt, CJ, and Steve ask the question, if you want to achieve personal growth, don't we first need to determine our starting point? We discuss the importance of establishing our baseline as we head into the 2021 CrossFit Open. Why? Because you're craving more, and we know it. Now for the most anticipated 4 words you love to hear. 3, 2, 1, go.
2, 1, go.
Yeah. And Matt has his 3, 2, 1, go shirt.
I do.
I'm really jealous of it.
Yeah.
I think we need a Compete Force shirt that says 3, 2, 1, go.
I like it.
We need Compete Force shirts.
We do. I agree.
Or we just need Matt, CJ, and Steve shirts. That's what they should say. Matt, CJ, and Steve on the front.
That's
we
it.
can't make them fast enough.
With nothing on the back.
Nothing. We don't need anything on the back.
We're not looking
You know
behind
what?
us.
You know what
Matt.
it needs to say on the back? See the front.
Yes.
Because we're not looking behind us.
No.
We're always moving forward.
No, other people will see it though because they'll always be behind us.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yep. And then in the smallest little, right back here on the tag on the back side, craving more. Real tiny.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I'm going to get Tony on that.
Yeah.
We're craving more. See the front.
You know, I don't even think you really need a design.
Mm-mm.
It just needs to be like regular font.
Just words.
Yeah, large font, of course.
I'm going to do it. Actually, I'm going to go on a Printful today because I have a Printful account.
Probably long sleeve sweatshirts and short sleeves.
I'm going to make it happen.
And of course, no sleeves for D
Mm-hmm.
because she would wear it.
That she would wear it. What color shirt?
Well, D wears a lot of red.
Red?
Yeah,
So we should go with red?
I think we
But
go.
she looks really good in blue.
Yeah.
Dark navy blue.
She's going to look really good in a dress here pretty
I
soon.
know.
From
I
what
know.
I
I know.
I'm
Exactly.
excited to see that.
Exactly.
I hope we get pictures.
I hope we
I
do.
saw pictures.
I saw pictures too.
That was there's not much more of a rare thing I could have looked at.
I know.
Like that might be the coolest thing I see all day.
Specimen.
Yeah.
I agree.
You fit a boulder into a cute dress.
I agree. It's awesome. Hey guys, welcome back to Craving More.
It's good to be here. It's exciting.
I'm going to leave all of that we just talked about on.
That is awesome, as you should.
Everyone's going to know that we're going to have our own shirts.
And Dee's gonna be
And
extremely upset that we told everyone she was in a dress.
Yeah, she was in a dress. D, you look great, by the way, in your dress.
We were gonna do hats at one time. I think we should do hats too.
We could do hats.
Yeah.
Oh, hats would be simple. Like a trucker hat like you have there.
Yeah, then you can wear it in
Matt.
the show.
CJ, Steve.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that simple. I like it.
MCJS. Is there a, what do they call it, an anonym or a synonym or a something nim?
What is that? You're the smart one. What's that called?
Cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Are you thinking about cinnamon toast crunch?
I'm just thinking if we can spell something with our letters. Of course, you give us an advantage because you have 2 letters in your name.
That's right.
So
Mm-hmm.
you know we're at a disadvantage.
That's true.
We could put CJ right in the center and balance it with the M and the S.
Yeah, but sometimes Austin's on here, so you got to go like CJ,
Oh yeah.
MS, ASA, and sometimes Austin.
The problem is we don't have any vowels.
We don't.
That's not a problem. It's only a problem if you think it's a problem.
I guess so.
Mind over matter, brother.
Mhm.
There you go.
I like it.
All right. Anyway,
What are we
we're
here
coming
for?
out with shirts.
Coming out with shirts. Stay tuned. They're going to be hot.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do. I would place your orders soon because they're going to sell out.
Yeah.
Fast. I don't know. We may be. And these
They
may be
might
like-
already be sold out.
They could be close. I would start asking for shirt sizes right now. If you want a shirt, hit us up on Facebook because I think we're all sold out. But we'll get couple extra quantities for the 1,000 or 2 people that want one.
Yeah.
We'll need them.
It's
Yep.
gonna be special.
Will.
You guys really, like, on a serious note, should make the Compete Force shirts.
Yeah, we do. We do have Compete Force shirts. They're just in Europe, so we need to make them over here.
Yeah.
They're pretty sweet.
All those things are coming and a lot more. Boy, there's just a lot of things in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Speaking of Compete Force,
Yes.
our sponsor for today.
Yeah. Thank you, Compete Force. You can see them behind us here. Visit us on our website, CompeteForceUSA.com.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Oh man, there was a lot of momentum just this week. Our founder of Compete Force sent us a note today, and he's like, I am so excited about what the U.S. can do for this company. And I agree.
I completely agree with that. It's an untapped market. I think that there's some advantages that Compete Force has over competitors. It's family owned.
That's
I
right.
think that's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
That the CrossFit affiliates love family owned businesses and support people, support community that way.
That's right.
So, and with the communication and connections that Compete Force has in the United States, man, the sky is the ceiling.
Yeah.
The sky is the ceiling. That's
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah.
Labor of love.
I just came up with that.
That was actually really good.
That was really good.
Yeah. Well,
that the sky's the limit, so cliche, and you just moved it.
I did.
That was awesome.
It's not rocket surgery.
That's right. It's not. What surgery rockets? It's one of those.
It's not Toledo rocket
surgery. Ooh, Steve.
Just want to make sure I get the plug in for the Toledo Rockets.
He's brought his own table decor.
That's right.
Also a title sponsor.
For my people, it's important I say this because for any of my people listening back home, and back home is Ottawa Lake, Michigan. Okay. So props to what used to be the 313, and I don't even know what the area code is now, but I'm still referring to it as the 313.
Okay.
Regardless, any of you guys listening out there, I need a Whiteford hat.
Ooh.
So get me my Whiteford hat. And
Whiteford.
Whiteford Agricultural High School.
Hey, if you are listening and you have one of those, get us a banner.
Yeah, I'd love to have a banner. I need a Whiteford banner to hang here in Salina, Ohio.
Yep, we hang banners up, high school banners in our gym.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask some people to reach out and hit me up and make sure that I get one of those. I'll get you an address and whatever we need to do.
Do it.
I want to get that. So represent.
Help a brother out.
That's right. So go Bobcats.
Here we go.
There
we go.
That's right.
What are we here? We're talking about what today?
We have a cool topic tonight, I think, and it morphed out of something that is coming up.
That's right.
A great big event coming up here this Friday kicks off, right? And that is the CrossFit Open.
Yeah, back finally at the right time. Thank you, CrossFit, for changing that back to truly.
But you know what's unique about what we're talking about here is while that establishes, and I'm going to use the word baseline, establishes our baseline for what we're going to talk about. So it's kind of the groundwork. It provides the stage for our topic today.
That's right.
Yeah. You want to introduce the topic?
Yeah. We're going to talk about baseline.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about over the course of the last week or so, and then as we lead into the Open, this word that says why. There's a question in the gym. Well, why do we want to do the Open? Why is that? And that's for most of the newer, CrossFitters. Why would I do that? What's it for? Why do I have to put my name in the system and all that kind of stuff? Well, it's truly to establish where you're at today and where do you want to get to.
Right. So, I liken it to this. I was thinking about this on the way over here. I was trying to think about, how do we open this up? First of all, you need to establish what is a baseline, right? And if you think about it, it's a data point. It's a fact to reveal or disclose your current environment, your current situation, just where you stand currently.
Right.
And I was thinking about a trip I made one at a time to, I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Mall of America, Minneapolis.
Yes,
Okay,
we have been there.
so I remember going in there, and it's this completely, if you're not familiar with it, and most people are, it's this overwhelmingly
Mhm.
large mall that attracts people from not just the United States, but all over the world. It's
right.
crazy. I mean, there is a there's a roller coaster
Coaster
in
in
there.
it.
I mean, it's nuts. So regardless, I walk into this place, and I was on a business trip, and I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't even know where I was. I mean, I knew I walked in a door in the Mall of America, and there I was standing in this overwhelmingly large place with no perception of where I was. But I knew I had a goal, and it was to get to this particular store. And I can't remember the store, it doesn't really even matter.
Right.
But what I did, continuing walking down the hall or the mall area into a larger area with more people and so forth. What's the one thing that you often see in the middle of a mall? You see a directory,
That's right.
right?
Mhm.
And it's this big board you can look at and find all the different places that you want to go or want to see, different shops and so forth. But while you want to go to these places, it doesn't help if you don't know where you currently are. So how do you get to that store, that location,
Mhm.
if you don't know where you are? But these directories do a great job of saying, guess what? A big red star with an arrow saying what? What does it say?
You are here.
You are here. That's exactly right. And we're all familiar with that. And so that is what I think of when you establish your baseline. You need to know you are here, because if you don't know where you are, you don't know how to get there. And you're not going to know what resources you're going to need in order to make that trip, right? And that is so critical for our discussion today.
That's right. Yeah. It builds on a little bit of what we talked about um, in a podcast that we're going to release here coming up. In that, that's kind of the process of community and being alone. In order for you to establish your baseline, or you got to know where you want to go, and a lot of that has to be self-induced. Meaning, you got to think up here. Hey, I'm not
Yeah.
happy. Here's, I guess, the conversation. Am I happy where I'm at today, regardless of what it is in life? Fitness, health, job situation,
Right. It could be
family,
financial, nutrition.
That's right. Life. It could be marriage. It could be whatever it is.
That's right.
Am I happy where I'm at today? And that you have to. That's your alone time. You got to think about: am I happy? Yes or no. And if the answer is, yeah, I'm happy, but it could be, or there's things I want to do. Now you've established a baseline, right?
Yeah.
For yourself.
Right.
In some cases, you need help
Well,
though.
you've established a goal, maybe
Yeah,
is what you've
right.
done. You've established a goal, which is great. Goals
That's
are
better.
awesome.
Better put. Yep.
Goals are awesome. But if I don't know where I am or how to achieve that goal, establish that baseline, then I'm not going to know how to get there. There's an old saying. I'm a basketball guy, so
Mhm.
there's a saying in basketball is you don't give up the baseline. And what that means is any offensive player who is dribbling on the baseline, which is either end of the court where the goals are placed,
Mhm.
okay? If the defensive player gives up the baseline, the chances are that that offensive player is going to have a direct connect or line to the goal,
That's right.
to the basket,
Mhm.
okay? So defensively, if you give up that baseline, that is not a good thing,
Right.
right? So if you give that up in your personal life, if you give up determining what your baseline is financially or physically or emotionally or your nutrition, whatever it might be, as you discussed, even your work,
Mhm.
then what you're giving up is being able to establish yourself to progress. You're not going to understand how to grow or where you need to grow.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, your thoughts are nothing without actions anyway, right? So you have to have that baseline to know where to go. I really liked your example there in the beginning about the in the center of the mall. There's your directory. My mind went straight to there's a water fountain. I'm like, there's always water fountains in the center. But I think that's good too because you need that directory to show you you are here. This is where you need to go. You have to have goals along the way. I think a lot of people think about or just want that water fountain where they can just toss a coin in there and wish for their goal, right?
That's good.
That's a good point. I like that.
Say what you started. Say what you said right in the beginning.
Thoughts are nothing without actions.
I learn every time I come on this podcast. I learn something from CJ. I mean, you talk about how deep thoughts. Go ahead, one more time.
Thoughts are nothing without actions.
You could do a whole podcast, a whole series just on that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Thoughts are nothing without action. So
Yeah.
your baseline, what's up here, you could have a baseline. You could have a goal in mind, right?
Right.
Or not baseline, you could have a goal in mind. But if you don't act on that,
Well, it's just like
it
having
means
great
nothing.
intentions.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, you have an intention to walk that old lady across the street, but you didn't, and then I don't know, you're just like she falls or someone else comes and helps her first, and you're like, oh gosh,
Yep.
Let me ask
that's
you
a
guys
great
a
intention,
question.
but
Yeah.
Why are people so afraid of establishing that baseline? Why do people not establish a baseline? What's behind that? What do you think?
Here's to go back to his sentence. I think every walk of life, every individual has a goal in mind. You just, whether it's positive or negative, there's something there that they're trying to get to. Some are negatively driven, right? Oh, I need to get drunk tonight, or I'm hooked on drugs, or whatever that is. But there's a goal thing. There's I want something, okay? And they don't, it because of the fear of what they have to do to go through to get that goal, the work or putting themselves out there, they never get there, which also means they never establish a baseline because they have no idea where they're at today. Hey, I know I want that next job promotion that's going to get me that next dollar amount, but they don't put the effort because I got to study a little bit, or I got to go back to school, or I got to ask for help, or I got to do. They have that thought, they never put it to action. They don't know where they're at. They never have established a baseline for themselves. So they have no idea how to get there, or the work to get there is way too hard.
and that's a lot of the mindfulness, and I mean, you really have to really dive deep into that and try to figure out where you actually are. There's so many distractions in your brain, so it's just jumping around. To actually look within yourself and keep asking questions. Why do I feel this way? What do I actually want? Who am I really? To get to that deeper meaning. But in terms of you, I think, like, so you proved a good point there, Matt, with um, like everything you just said. But I think it's also like people care a lot about what other people think of them. So I know I need to go work out, but I don't feel comfortable in my body to go to the gym to work out. Right. So the fear of um, other people's opinions of you, even if, I mean,
Perception.
that's you perceiving that.
That's
Exactly.
right.
It's not like someone walks into the gym, no one's actually judging them, but that's the only thing that you think about. So that's kind of what prevents people, I think, from action.
So we're talking about baseline because the question is why do we want people to participate in the CrossFit Open? Because if you're somebody like myself who is not a 1%er, I know that I'm going to be really fortunate to finish in the top 25,000. I mean, I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that number is. Yeah. And to many that could be very discouraging. But if you're establishing your baseline upon, if I'm doing it upon what CJ's capabilities are, I'm going to be really discouraged. Mm-hmm. But if I'm establishing it upon what I did last year or what I was capable of doing 6 months ago and how I may have improved, now all of a sudden I see progress instead of being discouraged. I think one of the things that people get so frustrated with when they start to establish their baseline and trying to achieve their goals is they're comparing themselves against others, or they're not patient with the process. And the process is so important. And if you do this on an annual basis and you start to get some momentum, you're going to see how you progress because you're measuring your improvement against yourself. I'm not measured against Matt. I'm not measured against CJ. Thank goodness I'm not measured against Dee Dee.
Right.
Because I'm measured against Steve and what Steve did in 2020 or 2019. And if we change our mindset on how we think about it, then all of a sudden we shouldn't be so fearful of establishing that baseline, because I think we're going to see more achievable results and faster results and results in general that maybe we wouldn't otherwise see, because we continue to compare ourselves against the rest of the population.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you think I'm interested to see you guys' view here. I was thinking about this with the three young adults that came in that are part of our 3 o'clock class through the week. They came in on their own today, unprompted. And I was thinking through that process as they were, gathering in our community and talking, and there was a whole line of people that went over and shook their hand and said hello. I think I was trying to think, man, what are they thinking? Like, what drove them to come today? Because I know their friends aren't doing that. And I know the background where they've come from, that's not what they're doing, right? That's not what they're used to. And I think our goals, to your point, I think our goals get skewed by that thought process of what is my neighbor doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes our goals get skewed by what we see on social media, or what the Joneses have next to us, right? Or so we set a baseline. We say, well, here's where I'm at today. This is my baseline, established baseline. My goal is, well, I want to be like that movie star or that athlete or that rock star that I listen to, or the punk, rocker on, whatever social media I follow. And that's skewing our perception of reality. It's majorly skewing it. So I was thinking about those kids and, like, I wonder what they think. I wonder what their baseline is today. Are their goals and aspirations what they're fed through social media and TV and movie stars and all that stuff?
Which is completely incorrect and
No,
not
it's
even close
no,
to what
it's
reality
all
is.
fake. That's all fake. That's why it's entertaining, because it's not reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where is their baseline? I kept going, of those three, what's their baseline and what's their goal?
Mm-hmm.
Is their goal stardom? Could be.
And if
but
you don't know what that is, then you're just kind of caught in this circle jerk, right?
right, yeah, just keep going back and forth. Like, what? I'll never get there. I'll never get there, because I'm constantly changing my goals, and because of the next social media post.
I
Right.
think that so a lot to that, like, I don't know, the Joneses down the street have this or whatever. Like, people at their core, one, they really care about what other people think. So
Right.
if your neighbor has something better than you don't want to be that weak neighbor,
Mhm.
weak neighbor.
Mhm.
Two, everyone is greedy. Like, at your core, everyone is full of greed. You want what other people have. You want what you don't have.
Mhm.
Um, I think our brains, I think, are kind of wired for that. This is completely me shooting from the hip, but I think they're kind of wired for that because, like, you think back to way back when people were living in caves, right?
Mhm.
Well, someone in the cave next to you has all this stuff. Their chances of survival are so much better than yours.
Hunter gatherer.
You
Mhm.
know, right?
Yep.
I mean, you got to fend off a tiger, and you don't have a sharp stick to defend yourself. You're screwed, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think our brains have adapted to how fast we've actually, like, the world has
Progressed.
happened, with
Yeah.
technology and all that stuff. So we don't. There's no longer that fear of a tiger attacking you. But I don't know. They have a sweet four-wheeler next door. I think I need that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, but in terms with the, like, who came today, and obviously we have no clue why they were actually there. Or, like,
Right.
I mean, it's great that they were for sure, but I mean, they're surrounded by positivity. Like, this could be the first time, you
That's
know.
right.
So I mean, they see everyone in the gym, like, so nice. Everyone's, like, getting stronger, getting better. Like, you get a little taste of that, and I wonder how much of that actually is, like, we need to, like, because at your core, you want to be a better person. You want to get better.
Right.
But maybe they just found they clicked.
So yeah, so their goals could have shifted.
Hmm.
They've established a baseline, and that's where they're at today, and they don't want to stay there in that situation.
Right.
But they see something that's obtainable: community, happiness, support, like you saw, this morning in that workout. So now all of a sudden their baseline and their goals are starting to align in something that's more achievable
Hmm.
than a financial gain or a notoriety perspective or
Right. And I mean, you think of that too. Like, it's free for them to go there.
Mhm.
So they, I mean, would you want to sit at home in a place where you might not? I
Mhm.
mean, you don't know the home situation, so would you
Right.
want to sit there at home all day, or can you escape for a little bit
Mhm.
and go by people that are gonna like cheer you on, and you get to kind of
That's right.
you get out?
And once you show up that first time, and we're fortunate because in our gym, in any kind of a CrossFit affiliation, um, it's not necessarily a plug for CrossFit, don't misunderstand me, but in our situation, let's be real, we have coaches, and those coaches guide you and they help you establish your baseline and where you're at. And then from there, you define your goals. And the other thing too that it really does is it reveals the resources that are needed. So if you don't know what that is, the baseline is, then you don't know, you know where you want to go, but you don't know how to get there.
Mhm.
Am I going to walk? Am I going to travel by plane? Am I going to use a skateboard? What are the resources that I need to get me to where I need to be? Because you don't know if you're this close or if you're this far away. And that's important to know. So maybe you're able to set more achievable goals once you set that standard. So I think that's important too.
Yeah.
That
Go ahead.
Well, that's a good point, Steve. You don't know if you're this close or this far away. Like, you should always just be taking that one step anyway, right?
Right.
So there's not going to be any. You can't just toss a coin into the fountain and it's there. You can't take a magic pill and you can't take a plane. Like, just to take one positive step, one positive step, one positive step,
That
and this is a great community for
that
that.
improvement of 1% better each day,
There you
right?
go.
We've
Yep.
talked about that before.
Yep.
Exactly.
So, in CJ, I think you'll know this, and I was trying to think of it as I was trying to retain other thoughts. But a lot of people are like, "Well, why do I want to participate in the CrossFit Games in the Open? Because I'm not going to the games. That's just dumb. I'm just not going to go there." They've missed the point because the point is establishing a baseline. Why do we want to establish a baseline? The reason CrossFit has been so successful is because we've developed a community of support. Number one, you go into any CrossFit gym. Ours isn't just as rare. Most CrossFit gyms you go into, there's a community that say, "Hey, thanks for coming here. We're welcoming in, and let's do this together and support it. Stronger together." That whole philosophy, right? But the reason CrossFit has been successful is because it's repeatable, and you can have benchmarks, right? So you know where you're at today and you know where you're going. So participating in the Open isn't about going to the games. There are a select few, the one percenters, that, yes, there's another goal there. They want to be better than great. We talked about that this morning, right? Why settle for great when I can be better than that? And that's the direction they're going. They want to be better and great. But for the rest of us, the 99 percenters, I need to establish a goal, or I need to establish a baseline. And that's what the CrossFit Open does for us. It establishes that. And that's at the core of why CrossFit's been successful. Yeah, I honestly think, and probably there's a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, that's not true." But if you took the CrossFit Games away from CrossFit for a minute, we'd struggle, I think. The community would still be there and we would be able to generate our own, but we would be left to our own devices to say, well, how do I establish a baseline with my people? How do I can keep the community going in the right direction if I don't have these, if I don't set a timer on the wall, right? Think about the CrossFit Games. I set a timer, 3, 2, 1, go. Why do I set a timer? Because I want to be better. I want to finish that workout better than I did yesterday, right?
Absolutely.
And that was basically where the games came from. Well, you're competing against yourself and other athletes that are close to your ability. Let's see how well you do.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Take that away, and might as well go to Snap Fitness, right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
And that leads me to my next question is, for those that don't have that coach, that
Mhm.
don't have that
Right.
community, right? How difficult must it be for them to achieve goals because
Mhm.
they don't have that established standard, right? And you begin to wonder why people quit their nutritional habits, or they quit their physical fitness habits, or they quit um, going to seek emotional help after 2 weeks or after a month
Right.
because they don't have that that standard, right? And they get frustrated. And when you get frustrated, what do? You quit,
Yeah, it's real easy. There's nothing there to hold you accountable.
right?
It's doable, but it's super difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. And I think too, what happens is, people begin to establish, okay, I'm going to do this for 30 days and I'm going to see how I feel or how I do after this 30 days. I'll reevaluate. Well, sometimes that might not be enough because your baseline is different than mine, right? So where you might need 30 days, I might need 60 or in many cases 75.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're familiar with that. So in order to understand that, it's going to be different for all of us, and you need to establish that against yourself, not against CJ, not against Matt.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it for Steve.
Right.
And then you got to retest and test. And I mean, then you have your baseline where you can kind of compare yourself to. So then you're constantly growing,
Mm-hmm.
or you're not growing and you're like, I need to take a little detour here and figure something out.
Right. So how does somebody who doesn't have this affiliation or hasn't come into a CrossFit facility, how do they establish that? Or is it possible, first of all? And if so, how? How do they do it? Is it much more difficult for them?
And what do they
It's-
what do they establish?
Right. And is it did they establish it correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't establish it correctly, that's just as much of a problem too, right? Because now you've put yourself in a situation that is not realistic.
Yeah, you'll never
and
get there.
things that are unrealistic are probably unachievable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, life's a game, right? So you could have this community and go home, but you don't have this community at home. So you have to, I mean, maybe you want to fix something diet wise, or you want to journal or read, or like you have to always be mindful and always be changing in a positive way. Like you're not going to know what's going to work for you. I mean, different diet works for everyone, different exercise programs, even like just everyone's body is just different. So I think there's no way of knowing what's the right way, but there's a way of knowing when it's messing up, So when you should adapt or change or whatever, but as long as you keep going, like life's not linear, right?
You're right.
Yeah, you're gonna bounce around all the time, but as long as it's over time, you can see you're progressing up.
I'm gonna tell on myself a little bit here based on what you just shared. We were talking earlier. I came in and I showed you, pulled my
Oh yeah, buddy.
pants out, and
Yeah,
I've lost probably better than 20 pounds. In fact, I have. Okay. And so, but in order to do that, it took a long time to figure out for me what that nutritional plan looked like. And with the help of our boy Barry Peel, all right,
What's up?
First Form,
Yes, sir.
straight up dude.
Little plug.
Need to check him out. If you
That's
haven't
right.
talked to Barry, you need to talk to Barry. There's some people in your life you need to know,
Mhm.
and there's some people in your life that need to know who you are. And Barry is one of those dudes.
I
Okay,
agree.
so having said that, he was instrumental in helping me dial in and I'm doing a macros plan, right?
Mhm.
So what that macros plan needed to look like. Well, all you can do from the beginning is say, okay, Steve, based on your height, based on your size, based on your daily activity, here's where we're going to start. Well, I'll tell you what, if I would have looked at that 2 weeks later and said, you know what, this isn't working. And you know what? It wasn't working.
Mhm.
I would have easily gotten frustrated and quit.
Giving up.
But you keep going back and you eliminate what doesn't work. And so that's really what you have to do, not just in your fitness, but in life in general. Sometimes it's elimination of things that don't work to be able to reveal what does work. And after a period of time, we're able to dial in what that nutritional label looks like for me. And now you start to get into a zone that fits my body, fits my lifestyle and what I'm doing, who I am, my makeup, my DNA.
Mhm.
And now it's not easy, but it's working.
Yeah. So you've established a solid baseline,
Right.
and your goals will constantly change based on how you've accomplished or how you've gone away from that baseline. Because you could go opposite,
Yeah.
right? You could go backwards, So your baseline was here and I've degressed or have regressed,
Yeah.
right? I'm going the wrong way. And now I've got to fix my diet or fix my workout routine or whatever that is, so I can at least get back to my baseline and then go from there. So every
Mhm.
single day when you wake up, your goals are going to constantly shift a little bit based on how the progress or regression you've made
That's a great
every
point.
day,
Yeah,
right?
That's a great point.
yeah. And I mean, like Steve starts training for a marathon, you're gonna have to go back. You're not even going regressing or anything. You
Mhm.
just shifted. Like your
Yeah.
life shifted a little bit.
Yep.
Those macros are gonna change for sure if you start
Mhm.
training for a marathon.
No question.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's possible, very possible to do it on your own and in a community, but it's so difficult to be honest with yourself. You have to. I mean, that's where journaling comes in, the mindfulness. But it's so hard to be honest with yourself and to do something long enough that's like a change, because change sucks. We like what we have, right?
Mhm.
So change sucks, but to do something long enough, like you said, 2 weeks you had to stick with the diet that wasn't working, but you didn't know if it was going to work or not.
Right? I had to
So
give it a chance.
exactly. So you have to be honest with yourself, like, is this working or do I need to wait a little bit? You know,
Mhm.
could be very hard to find that line, and then you stuck with it for 2 weeks, and you're like, all right, now it's time to change.
Actually stuck with it for more than that. So I looked at it in 2 weeks and said, this is this that was the timeline when I normally would have quit and said, this isn't working. I'm not the kind of person that is able to lose weight. Um, I'm not. I don't have that metabolism like CJ does. I could have said, you know what, I'm 50 years old.
Mhm.
In comparison, how am I looking? And as far as other 50-year-olds, well, I'm probably in the top 20%. That's good enough. Well, you need to make that decision. You're at a crossroad right there.
Yep.
And that is an important life decision. If you say, 50 years old does not need to look like this as I stare at myself in the mirror,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It can be physically fit.
Right.
You can be energetic. You can be full of life. You can be all these things. But that's a decision that you have to make. And so after that 2 weeks was up, we continued for another week, maybe week and a half. And then it's like, okay, let's make this tweak. And once again, it goes through the process of elimination. And it is a process, and you have to enjoy the process. If you are looking to seek and obtain a goal, once you get to that goal, guess what? It's kind of a letdown. You enjoy it for about 20 seconds, but then
Mhm.
it's kind of a letdown.
Yep.
So
You got to be able to change that.
got to be able to change that. And that standard, that baseline is so important.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. In that constant goal change, once you've established a baseline, as long as you recognize that I've got to tweak it here or there, so I can my goal's going to change. I know where I'm at. I know where I want to go, but I got to move it just a little bit in order to achieve that.
Right.
And I mean, you gotta, like you said, you have to enjoy the process. That's gonna be very hard,
Mhm.
especially if you're not sure. There's so much uncertainty there. Like, is this right? Is this not right? Um, but yeah, there's a lot of growth in suffering,
There is.
and it's not permanent. You're not gonna die. It's just like,
Mhm.
look at Buddha, right?
Yeah.
You find so much in suffering.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm not Buddhist, but
Yeah. So, as we talk about the baseline, and we talk about the CrossFit Open coming up, um, I think baseline and establishing a baseline versus a goal that you want to achieve is not only true in your fitness and your health, right? It's true in almost every aspect of your life, if not every aspect of your life.
No question. We go back to what we talked about when you opened up the show. Your baseline can be your work,
Mhm.
your job, your career. What job or career am I in right now, and where do I want to be? Do I want to be with this same company at another level, or do I want to be with another company in a different capacity entirely? It could be financially.
Mhm.
It could be you could establish a baseline for sleep, right?
Yeah.
You talk about your health. There's a whole nother podcast right there is about sleep
Right.
and how deficient we are sometimes when we don't understand how much sleep we need per individual. Um, Certainly the physical aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it, all those things. There's so many different directions you can take it.
Yep, definitely. I think you have to really lean on and look at the people that you surround yourself with, positive or negatively, because that sometimes will change Once you establish that baseline, it's going to change the way you go about achieving those goals, because really who we're influenced the most by is the people we see the most for the most part, right? And is that going in the positive direction?
One of my very good friends tells me, I've heard him say it a lot, and he's told me this a number of times. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future.
Exactly.
And,
Yep.
A lot of people think that opposites attract. I do not believe that one moment.
Mhm.
I believe that birds of a feather flock together. I think we seek out people like us.
Mhm.
And I think we seek out, what we need to do is we need to seek out people even maybe a little bit above us.
Who you want to be.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
now we've got a target, right? There's something that I admire about you, CJ. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I'm going to hang out with you because I like what you got.
Mhm.
And I want to find that for myself.
That's right. Yep. And that's selfishly, I hope, the 3 individuals that came today to class, I hope that's their mindset. They're surrounding themselves with people they really want to be at some point in time, right? So they're going to surround themselves with that, and that they're coming on Saturday on their own because, this is kind of the cool spot. This is the people I like to hang around with, and I want to progress from there.
You said something really interesting right there, and you're so right. And it made me think there are people looking at you, establishing their standard.
Mhm.
They're establishing their baseline based upon watching you.
Yep.
And I did a Thursday thought on this a couple of weeks ago that it's
That's right.
titled Somebody's Always Watching.
Mhm.
And it is so true because a lot of people who don't have the affiliation with or a coach or a mentor, they're going to create a mentor and they're going to find one, whether you want to be a mentor or not.
Mhm.
You might be somebody's mentor right now and not know it. And they're establishing their baseline, their standard based upon you and what you're doing, your actions, your comments. And it feels like it's kind of a heavy burden, but it's kind of cool too. So
Yeah.
another reason why establishing that standard, that baseline is so important.
Yeah, you spoke about that last podcast, but I guess it's going to be released after this one.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, you had a really good point there as well. But kind of with what you were saying earlier, like um, if you find yourself being the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and that could be. I mean, you
So
got to hang out.
Are you looking to leave right now?
Yeah, get out of
Yeah.
here. I'm in the right room for sure.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
No, but like, it doesn't. It's just surround yourself with people better than yourself, right? So, and that doesn't have to be like the holistic person. It's just like, I mean, you're wanting to get better at working out. Well, hanging out with Dee Dee is a great option to do that. You know?
Yeah, hanging out with you is a great option to do that. I mean, you do an outstanding job. So there's things that me as a 50-year-old man look to CJ, a 24-year-old young man, and I think I want to watch this guy
Mhm.
because he does things that I want to be able to achieve. So it doesn't have anything to do with age either.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, but no, that's so true. And even kind of speaking to that, like, um, I don't know how we were talking with the Open and how you want to track it and stuff. Like, so tracking it is really good, especially on the Open app. Like they have, so you can see how you did. My first Open was in 2018, and I got 11,975th in the world, and I'm like, holy crap! There's 11,974 people in my age group that are males
Yeah.
that are better than me, and I'm like, whoa. And then, like you go up until last year, I was 3,609th. So you're like, like that consistency, you're just kind of really working towards it and you can really see a difference. Um, like yesterday we did the workout 19.4, so 2019's fourth workout in the Open. And I didn't finish the workout then. I had 6 reps left. So then when we did it yesterday, you're like, I better finish this workout or I like
Mhm.
I declined, But you can base yourself off that.
Mhm.
And then where you're going or what you need to change or whatever. But I ended up finishing it in 10 minutes and 52 seconds, and the cap is 12. So in 2019, the place was 7,282nd in that workout, and yesterday, with my same time, it was 1,754th.
Huge.
That's amazing.
That's a 1,000-person difference.
Mm-hmm.
But tracking your workouts, logging your stuff, finding your baseline, and then
Mhm.
you can see your results over time. And you see that,
Yep.
hopefully it's working. If not,
Yeah.
you gotta
And when you
adjust.
improve that 1% per day, it doesn't seem like a lot, because when you improve 1% on 65%,
Mm-hmm.
that's less than 1% improvement, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
overall,
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
when you look back on it, after you do that consistently day after day, and you're just measuring yourself against your baseline, your standard, and you look back a year later or 2 years later, now all of a sudden you think, wow, look at the mountain that I just climbed.
Mhm.
And it was challenging, but you think, wow, all I did was put one foot in front of the other, right?
Right. You just show up, you know? You intentionally show up, right?
All right. Hey,
Oh,
sorry about that. We're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're back recording. You were finishing up your last thought before we cut out on Thor, right?
yeah. Yeah. The Thor that, who cares if Thor beats you from Iceland that you're never going to see,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're not a part of your daily life or connected to you in any form outside of your own
Right.
mindset.
Exactly.
Perfect. So I think it's maybe a good point to kind of start to wrap things up. Um, we can talk about
Talk about the this upcoming Friday,
yes,
Friday Night
Friday Night
Lights,
Lights.
what it looks like for CrossFit Crave, what it means for people who aren't familiar with it, and maybe you're thinking, hey, what's this about? How do I get involved?
Yep. So we're talking about the baseline. We're scheduling we're creating a baseline for yourself, and we're doing that through the Open for our physical fitness to base on where we're at this year compared to next year, or where we were at last year compared to this year. Like CJ was going with over his numbers. So we'll come together on Thursday night. They'll release a workout. CrossFit.com will release a workout, and it'll be whatever it is. And that gives a lot of people anxiety, including myself. So on Friday night, we'll come together as a group and we'll break up into heats so everyone can kind of cheer everyone on. We'll have 5 lanes going and 5 people working out at a time, and everyone else will be there to support. You'll have somebody that will come with you, and they will count your reps for you. And then they will establish a clear baseline on that particular workout on that particular day. And then you'll submit those scores. Hopefully you've logged into CrossFit.com and created a games account, and then you can have a baseline compared to where you're at in your age group to all of the entire demographic of people that are doing the same workout. And it's more based for us on community. We're there to support one another. Kids and family come, and once we're finished, the kids take over the floor, and for the next 3 hours they just have a ball, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun. And the thing is too is people who think, oh well, I'm going to reveal myself in
Mm-hmm.
front of an entirety. Well, you know what, we all are.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Yeah.
not in a different boat than anyone else.
That's
And
right.
trust me, 5 minutes after it's over with, no one's going to remember your time. No one's going to care about your time.
Right.
They just care that you're there
Mm-hmm.
and that you're taking part and just having fun
That's
and
right.
enjoying it.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. So the Open itself, we had a couple questions about this, I guess, but the Open itself is $20 to sign up, right? You don't have to. We highly recommend doing it, obviously, but to participate in the Friday Night Lights, you don't have to pay the $20.
Nope, you don't have to pay. That's not a requirement. You get an extra point for your team, but at the end of the day, that's okay. We want you to just show up. We want you to be there and enjoy the fun, and enjoy the part of the community. Participate in a theme if you're into that kind of thing. Right? Each Friday night will have a theme. I think the first Friday night is 80s or superhero.
Is it 80s or superheroes?
Superheroes.
Okay.
So dress up as your favorite
I'm
superhero.
going as CJ.
Ooh,
Oh Lord,
man.
Oh,
Super excited.
My beard is not coming in,
It's
though.
not. No,
I don't know if I'm going to pull it off.
Yeah, probably not. You're going to have to work on that a little bit.
yeah, get a little patchy scruff going on, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but superheroes, that's
That's
fun.
right. That's right.
Exciting.
You don't have to buy a cape or anything because he just wears his shorts into the gym. most
I
of
don't
the time.
even.
Well, you don't even need to buy a shirt.
No, or
Yeah.
socks or shoes.
Yeah.
It would be good to have the Matt CJ Steve shirt though.
would.
That
It
is that a
would.
superhero shirt?
That would be.
It would be.
Mhm.
I think that would qualify.
Yeah, considered. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So that the $20, I guess, what that gets you though is access to the CrossFit Games, the app. I guess
Yeah.
the Open in general. So then when you sign up for that, you can log your scores in there, and that's how I could pull up all of my stuff from the past. So it was
Mhm.
just you put your score in, and then it'll automatically show you where you're at. It'll place you, and then it'll keep it there forever as long as you
Have the app.
don't delete the app or don't delete your account. I
Yeah,
guess you can
don't-
re-download
yeah.
the app.
Exactly.
But so that's what the $20 gets you is where you can track everything.
Yep. See where you're compared and
Yeah.
as a 46-year-old male, where am I at?
Yeah. I asked you that question about a month and a half or 2 months ago. I pulled you aside. I
Mhm.
remember specifically when I was riding a stationary bike and you were making your way around the gym, saying hello to people and
Mhm.
just having some conversation. I called you over, say, "Hey, Matt,
Mhm.
come here." And it was just on my mind, and but I had not thought about the CrossFit Open at that point.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey, just want to ask you a question. A guy like me, a guy like you, where do we rank? What percentile are we in the US among males in our age group, maybe 45 to 50?
Mhm.
And how do we figure that out?" And he said, "Steve, I have a great way for you to find out."
Mhm.
And you mentioned the CrossFit Open, and you showed me the app. You showed me how to sign up. I did that,
Yep.
and I'm pretty excited about it. So, and I'm not. I want to see where I rank compared to others,
Mhm.
but I want to establish my own baseline so I can measure myself against my results next year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing too, right? It's a tool. It's not you comparing yourself with the other people. It's fun to see that,
Right.
but really what you're looking for is like in 2019, like I didn't finish the workout. This time I finished it a minute and 8 seconds under the cap. So you're like you can see your improvements over time. That's the most you're gonna get from it for sure.
That's right. What
Versus-
areas am I deficient in? What areas am I confident in? And now I know what I need to work on.
But I need to work.
Exactly. There's another level to that. I guess and that's probably it for another podcast. But one of the questions you had asked, and I don't know if it was during that time or a previous time, like, what's it take? So now that we know we're establishing a baseline on where I'm at today and where I want to be, and it's about us against us necessarily. That's the goal. That's the premise of it. But there's certainly a different question or a different level of that. And what's it take to get to the CrossFit Games?
The one percenters.
The one percenters. What like how close? Like Barry, I think you brought up. Like how far away is Barry from that group? And I'll never be there, so I can't fully put it into words. But I established, I think at that point in time, is Steve, when you played basketball, how close were you to the NBA?
I wasn't even close to our league,
Right,
let
right.
alone the NBA.
Yeah, but you were.
But
you were-
yeah, I
were
was
you
a
a decent
decent
basketball-
basketball player. I could hold my own in with my team, my conference,
Right.
in games. But boy, to measure myself to the NBA, Matt,
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
a universe away.
Exactly. And I think that's what I used, for that example. Where is Barry at compared to a Matt Frazier? Barry's very good, and he'll probably move into the top 20%. So he'll get to go on to the next level, but it probably won't go beyond that. Not because he's not strong enough or he doesn't have the will. He's got the will and he's got the fight and everything else. It's just a different level when you look at where Barry and Matt Frazier are at, right? One of the fittest outside of Didi, one of the fittest people that I know. But there's a difference. Where could you have gone from high school to play professional basketball?
Not a
No.
chance.
So it's that level. If you look like where and I don't think a lot of people recognize how fortunate we are to have the athletes that we have in our 99% box, right? If you look at CJ and Austin and Barry and you name it, Casey that comes down and
Nate.
and Nate and Yeah,
And even Tony, who's stepping up
That's
and
right.
come a long way in a
Exactly.
year and a
That's
half. And
right.
he's turned to
Yep.
be an RXer and pushing that limit.
Exactly. Yep. Kenzie and Gator and all of those individuals, if you look at, if you, that's rare to find that many high level athletes in one community. And then you throw a true 0.01 percenter into the middle of that mix with D. It's almost it's, it's one in 10 people in the world, in the different age brackets, if you think about it. So one box, well, there's 10 boxes in the world that would have a top 10 percenter in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 people, right, in each age bracket. So, say what is that? There's 60 of the 0.01 percenters walking around the world right now. And one of them resides in our facility. That is rare to see that, to benchmark yourself off of the best. We've got it. Just look.
And
at any given day.
Right. And you don't have to be intimidated by that for those who are listening and
That's
think,
right.
oh, well, that gym is not for me then.
No.
But it couldn't be further from the truth, because
Right.
you walk in and the environment is so welcoming. You
Yep.
would not know unless you stopped to watch these
You'd have
individuals.
no idea.
You would have no idea, because they are all so humble.
Yep.
They are all so friendly and kind,
Mhm.
willing to give up their time to help others. And they just, they just want to be in community like you do.
That's
You would
right.
never know
Yep.
with these people. And that's a
You wouldn't.
compliment to them.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, you're going to be working out in the same group or in the same class, and you're going to look to your left and right and have no idea.
That's right.
You just because
Well, you're going to be drowning in your own perspiration.
right.
You're not
Yep.
going to have time to look to your left or your right.
Exactly, that's true.
Well, then kind of
Yep.
to speak to that, just like the differences in people, like you could be really good in one area. So like Barry, I looked his score up with the 19.4 that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So he had 17 reps left in 1904 or 19.4.
Yeah.
Barry's going to appreciate that.
Exactly.
That's right.
At 19.4, I had 6 reps left. The guy who won finished it in 8 minutes and 3 seconds. So he finished it 4 minutes before the cap.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up getting like 3,000th in the open, but he won that workout.
Yeah.
It's like, so that guy found something in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
That was really beat Matt Frazier.
Yeah.
Matt Frazier got second.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be so good in so many different areas,
Right.
to even be considered.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So it's truly, truly impressive what what D's doing. Like, how do you?
Yep.
So
you gotta be
given
so
that,
well rounded.
So given that, measure yourself against yourself, not
That's
against
right.
others.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep. You improve. That's what Dee does best. She looks at, this is where I'm at today, and what am I deficient in? How can I get better?
Right.
She migrated towards this group because there's a deficiency in whatever it was, the training or whatever she needed to improve. So she found people to help her improve. And that's in every life. That's what we want to do. We want to find, like you said before, I want to surround myself. When did you say flock? The feather thing. Go ahead.
Oh, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have a common goal, and those are the people that are going to help me get there. Go in that direction.
Right.
Yep. And she always attacks her weaknesses. Like,
That's right.
like her wall balls. 14-pound wall ball is always programmed. She always uses a 20-pound wall ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Attack your weakness.
Crazy.
Yep. And
Awesome.
I hope those 3 kids that were here today on Saturday will be here on Friday night, because I hope that is every single person in that box shook their hand. I got a video of it, and they all stood in line, and all of a sudden here's this train of people. Hey, how are you? My name is, and the look on their face was like, okay.
Yeah.
And they were smiling as they actually hung out. They're like, hey, take the one individual, I won't about said a name, I won't say a name, but one individual's like, hey, what time is it? I said, it's just after 10. She's like, that's great. I won't be picked up till 11. I get to hang out here for the next 45 minutes.
How awesome is that?
And there was true, genuine excitement. That wasn't like, I get to hang out. No, it was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So hopefully that generates, hey, that's where I want to be. I want to benchmark myself. I know where my goals are at. The people that I surround myself, that's my goal. I want to be better than.
That's a champion mentality right there.
No question about it.
That is a champion
Yep.
mentality, and congratulations to that individual.
Exactly. Yep. And think about what Tia, Claire, Toomey, you guys were talking about it today. Why settle to be great? Why? I want to be better and great. And her mentality for that hour is, I want to be better than where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That is sweet.
Benchmarking, setting goals based on that bench line, moving forward, or that baseline moving forward.
Finding the resources to get there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Do it in health and fitness, but most importantly, do it in your personal life.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Financially, other areas,
Mhm.
it's your home life,
Yep.
at work,
That's right.
all those things.
Yep. And if you're struggling, don't hesitate to ask someone for help. That's, we a little bit to finish. We talked about that a little bit this morning. With the one individual, she's got a really prominent job, and she's worked her tail off for that. And still, in some cases, people are disrespectful towards that because realistically, probably in their own life, they want to achieve, right? But they've never put the work in to get there.
Right.
So now they're dismissive of it, right?
Yeah.
And realistically, they probably want to be in that same spot. They just don't have the ethic. They don't have the baseline, right? Or maybe they don't have the right goal and they didn't put the action to thought, like CJ said.
So rather
in the
than elevate
beginning,
themselves, they drag others
they
down.
drag others down. And the worst thing you can be, whether it's in a workplace or in a relationship or a marriage or whatever it is to be constantly drugged down by others and have the feeling of I've got no way out.
Right.
Figure that out.
How
Get some help.
how much joy are you missing out on if you only celebrate your own?
That's right. Yeah,
That's a great question.
it's a great question.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. How often do you, like, you get a PR? How often? Every 3 or 4 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I mean, everyone's on a different cycle, right? If you can get
Yep.
super excited, someone else did something good.
Hence
Yeah.
the open.
Mhm.
Join us.
Also, I want to
Give yourself a baseline.
kind of preface with something too, because I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to release the reps when I beat Barry. When I got really lucky in one workout and beat Barry.
Yeah.
He would crush my soul now. Like, he got so. He's
Yeah.
more fit than I am. I'm
He
just
is
gonna
way
throw that
more
out
fitter.
there right now.
He
Yeah.
would steal all of our souls.
Yeah.
Not just crush them, he would
That's right.
steal them.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's awesome. All right. So that's establishing a baseline. Come join us next Friday for Friday Night Lights, the CrossFit Open.
This Friday. It's
yeah,
this Friday.
Geez, not
Yeah, buddy.
next. Like this Friday.
Yeah, buddy.
Today's Saturday. Woo! We're getting there. Exciting time of the year. Well, hey, thanks for Compete Force for sponsoring this episode. Look towards those shirts. We're going to have shirts. Matt, CJ, Steve.
We'll probably have something as an alternative too, I'm sure, right? Because
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everyone will want one of those, although it's hard for me to believe right now.
Yeah, most everyone will.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably run out of print of that thing. So yeah, we'll probably have some other shirts too.
Good.
All right, guys. Nice work.
Awesome.
Until next time.
Later.
See you.